Big and important news today. We now see the total true colors of Bernie Sanders. Not only has he trashed Israel, we know that he's a self-hating Jew. He's trashed AIPAC, calls them racist, calls Israel racist, and he also compliments, just yesterday, Fidel Castro in Cuba. Now, we've now revealed that he's a bona fide anti-Semite. We've revealed that he's a bona fide communist. Now, who was a communist? Karl Marx, Leon Trotsky. Unfortunately, I'm a proud Jew. I'm also a Christian. I believe in Jesus. But I'll tell you something, the Jewish left is the most destructive of the Jewish people, and it's the most destructive of Israel. And it's for Jews themselves to police these people peacefully and legally. We have a coalition of legal right on Freedom Watch's website. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. We must keep these people in check. We must do everything we can to prevent this. And years ago, I proposed a Hollywood tribute to Israel. Now, why is that important? Because the Jewish left is embedded in Hollywood. Many of them are embedded in Hollywood. Oliver Stone, by the way, is Jewish. I think he's a very talented director, tremendously creative, but he's a friend of Castro, and he also, in fact, is borderline anti-Semitic himself. We need to mobilize people. And I would suggest that we do put on a Hollywood tribute to Israel. I actually incorporated it. I want to go forward. I couldn't find any Jews in Hollywood that had the guts to do this. But now we have Gal Gadot, who's not just probably the most beautiful actress, but also very talented, from Wonder Woman. We have Scarlett Johansson, Natalie Portman, Gwyneth Paltrow. There's a lot of them out there. Adam Sandler, a male. We need to mobilize here because we need to educate people. On the college campuses today, Israel and Jews are persecuted. I experienced it many years ago at Duke University with a fraternity, told me to go join the Jewish fraternity. I said, I don't want to join either of you guys. I'm my own person. But this is something that's extremely important. And we also need to educate people on the evils of communism. I've represented many Cuban Americans in Miami. Jose Basulto, I obtained nearly a $2 million judgment against Cuba for shooting down his brothers to the rescue. That remains uncollected to this day, in large part. I have done many things for the Cuban people because Castro is the miniature equivalent of Hitler. He killed people, he killed children in boats in Havana Harbor. I represented journalists who were in prison, some of them for up to 23 years. Castro would bring in their wives and have prison guards rape them in front of them. This guy is an animal, frankly, and it's good that he's dead, but we've got Raul Castro, who's still in power, and we've got other Castros that are in power. I went to Europe and I lobbied against Cuba with 5 European governments in the Vatican, with the daughter of Fidel Castro, Elena Fernandez, who was the illegitimate daughter of Castro, his only daughter, and she was against him. She didn't want him harmed. I thought perhaps it might be a good idea if people did some things there to get rid of the guy, to be frank about it. I used to have a slogan when I ran for the U.S. Senate in Florida, Quitemos a Castro ahora. And Castro hacked my website and told people to vote for Mel Martinez, a Cuban who never did anything for his people, who ultimately won the election. And then he quit because he really didn't feel like being senator. He did it only for George W. Bush to try to get Latino votes. But I know I'm rambling a bit, but the bottom line here is that the fight against communism, the fight against anti-Semitism, is centered in the Jewish community itself. It's a fight between the right and the left. And we, Jews who are conservatives, people of faith, libertarians, must rise up and fight against this. This is our responsibility. We gave the world communism through Marx and Trotsky and others, Saul Alinsky in recent history, others, and we must now take the lead. And, I'm taking the lead myself. I'm paying the brunt. There's a bar proceeding in Washington, D.C. that was started. And sitting on that hearing committee against me is a communist, Michael Tiger, an avowed communist. I've got pictures of him with Ramon Castro wearing a Cuba T-shirt. I've got a thank you note from Fidel Castro. These people have embedded governmental entities in this country, and it's extremely dangerous. Joseph McCarthy went too far on occasion, but he wasn't totally wrong. And it's ironic that decades later, communism is a bigger threat to the country than it was back in the 1950s and 1960s, because it's growing on our college campuses. It's growing. And Bernie Sanders really reflects that. And the fact that he can openly voice support for Castro, a murderer, a Hitler-esque murderer, and then also trash Israel within 24 hours, being a Jew. Of course, Sanders is not a Jewish name. His father changed his name. They tried to hide it. These are the worst forms of people in the Jewish community. George Soros is another example, who collaborated with Hitler. He and his father took property away from Jews going to the ovens and gas chambers, confiscated it so they could save their skin. I'd rather die than do something like that. So I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org. Join the coalition of the Jewish right. We need to educate the American people. The best way to do that is with a Hollywood tribute to Israel. Let's round up those Jews in Hollywood, have them come out of the closet and play a big role. Barbara Streisand is another one. She has been supportive of the Israeli Defense Fund. Chaim Saban, a philanthropist in Hollywood who has a theater and has played a role. Pat Boone, who is a Christian but considers himself a Jewish brother. He actually wears a high and a Star of David. There are people out there, and we need to mobilize not just the Jewish community, the real Jewish community, not the self-hating Jews, because they're not Jews at all. And I want the people to know that, because there's going to be a backlash of greater anti-Semitism in this country, and we need to prevent that. But we need to mobilize Christianity, and the evangelicals have been a better friend of Israel than the Jewish left, and that's putting it mildly with regard to their Jewish left. The same problems exist in Israel. The left is very destructive. Who do you think wants to bring Prime Minister Netanyahu down? He's not perfect, for sure, but he's the best they have over there. And he's taken a stand, and he's eloquent. He needs to be stronger with Hamas and Hezbollah. That's where I've been critical. But I am a Zionist. I believe in Israel. I believe in this country. We are the promised lands together. We must exist together. And we, American Jews and American Christians, and I'm both, need to rise up and fight, not just in a court of law, but we need to fight the court of public opinion to let people understand that Jewry is not Bernie Sanders. It's not someone who will take support from Linda Sarsour, from Ilham Omar, from Rashida Tlaib, vehement anti-Semites, people who support Palestinian terrorism, frankly, and they do. And this is crucial at this point in time. So that's my message for today. Go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute to our cause, help us fight anti-Semitism, help us fight against communism, help us fight for the message of against the message of Bernie Sanders. I almost said Bernie Castro. That was a Freudian slip. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. And share this video, this podcast you can find it on iTunes. You can find it on freedomwatchusa.org. You can find it at radioamerica.com, on Facebook. You can find it everywhere. Just share it. So I want to thank you for listening to me. I'll be back tomorrow with another version, another edition of our special podcast each day.
Hey Kev, the client needs that document ASAP.
I'm trying, but the internet is so slow. And now it isn't working at all.
Is your internet provider holding your business back? Switch to one who keeps you moving forward. At Cox Business, we know how crucial connectivity is to your business. That's why we give you the peace of mind of around-the-clock network monitoring and 24/7 support. So if your provider isn't setting your business up for success, make the switch to Cox Business today. Get 50 megs of internet for only $95 per month with a 3-year agreement. Ends 4/30/20. Restrictions apply. Visit coxbusiness.com for details.